Hey everyone, as promised, here is the video that'll just kind of describe the new authentication workflow for the new buyer and seller portal. So what I'm looking at now is 1234 test drive. And again, in the past, the buyer and seller could access it immediately. Now we use a token system. And the great thing about the token system is it's secure, but it also provides the ability to not have to remember a password, and it just saves the login on whatever device they've logged into. So let's go ahead and show you how this would work. As I've always done, you can click on the miscellaneous tab and email the portal link under the buyer and seller portal area. This brings up a email, very generic, but it does include the actual portal link. I will mention briefly that if I need to use the old portal links, you can see the buyer and seller portal link still works just fine, and then all the other portal links work as well. But if I were a buyer and seller and I were to click on this link the first time, this is what it would look like. So this is transaction portal access, the transaction portal access page, and you'll see that John Doe is going to see his name and he's going to be able to access the portal. So once he clicks access, it's going to ask John for an access token. And down below you can see I've got a number of ways for John to get his token. Now this is important because we have to provide a token to John and Jane Doe. You will need to enter some sort of communication contact information in the contact record itself. So you'll see under John Doe, we've entered a cell phone number. We also have two emails, one for John and one for Jane. One of these should be certainly valid, so John can obtain the token. I'm going to go ahead and click on the mobile and get a text. It kind of goes through pretty quick, so it's already through. And I can just enter it here. And now John can access the portal. Now, once John logs in on this particular device, whether it's a computer or a phone, he will never have to log in on that device again. Of course, if he does it on his computer, he will have to do it on his phone separately. But again, once he does it once on the device, he can go back to that link or whatever link you provide, and it will take him directly to his portal, which is pretty nice. I will point out a couple things going back to my A-Frame account. If I click on John and Jane Doe, clearly this is where you're going to need to enter contact information like I mentioned so they can obtain their token. But if you want to shut off the portal for a particular contact, you can now do that under the other details for the particular contact. And you'll notice this little checkbox down here. By default, it's turned on. But if I uncheck that and click Save, the portal will immediately turn off and the contact can no longer access. In fact, I'll demonstrate that here. You can see the account you're trying to access is not active. Contact the administrator if you feel that's an error. Now, if I go back and turn it on, click Save, and then, of course, refresh the portal, it'll go right back to where it was. So it's a nice way to turn on or off the portal if you ever need to do that. One other thing I'll point out is in the admin area, and then if I click Client Portal over here, you notice there are a number of items that I can customize. Now, there's the show and hide user information, which is the primary agent, co-agent, or the assistants and user roles. Now, I'll show you where this information is actually listed. If I click into a transaction, it's basically this box over here. So if you want to show the primary agent, if there's a co-agent, or if you want to show or hide any of the transaction coordinator information, you can do that in one of these boxes. Like if I hide the TCs and click Save, you'll notice that when I refresh, the TC disappears, but the primary agent is left. Additionally, if you want to hide user roles, that is basically this little line here. So if you don't want it to say agent or broker or transaction coordinator, you can hide that line as well. Other items are showing chart, agent company and name. Those are for activities. So if I go into a transaction that actually has showings and I go to the activities tab, then we can either show or hide this chart up here. And then we can actually show or hide the agent name and the agent company independently. So if you just want to show the company or the agent name or both, you can do that. It might be worth noting that on the buyer and seller portal, no phone numbers are ever displayed for agents who are not on quote unquote your team. The only agent phone numbers that would ever be displayed would be out here to the right, or if you've included them in the participant section down below. But of course you can turn those on or off from within the transaction itself. Last but not least are a couple items over here, the display logo and independent TC format. So the display logo is exactly what it says. If you want this logo to show or not, that involves basically the branding section. And then the other checkbox here is the independent TC format. Now that can be a little confusing, but essentially it toggles between showing the primary agent's logo and company information or the main account logo information. So for example, in this account right here, I've actually got TC format on. What does that mean? That means I'm going to use the broker's, the primary agent's information up here in the branding. So I'm using Burton Rhodes logo, company, and team name if there is one. You'll notice if I go to a different transaction where Chris Johnson happens to be the broker, the branding information changes. Now, if I turn this off and I use the standard format, I'm actually going to pull information from the team. So it's going to be this information and the account company and team name. I'll show you that real quickly. If I refresh, you'll see now that it pulls from the main account team information. So if you're an independent TC, clearly the TC format is going to work better for you. If you are an agent or an agent team, then typically you would leave that box unchecked because you usually are all under the same umbrella. Okay, I hope that helps. I think this new authentication format is going to work well. It has worked well for the agent portal. And so giving your agents or giving your buyers and sellers more security is certainly warranted. And I think it'll be just better for the long term. So if you have any questions, obviously reach out to us at support@aframesoftware.com. Otherwise, hope you're having a great day. Thanks.